I want to talk about a story idea that I have. And today I'm just going to talk about one story idea. And this is one of the bigger ones that I've had. To the point where it's not... All the other ones are just like, one paragraph, two paragraphs long, just like summaries. This one, I have actually made it so long that I've divided it up into chapters. So I know the whole flow of the story, but like I said earlier, I can't write dialogue and I can't write characters, so I'm having a hard time with that. So it's still in summary form. It's just long enough that I know how it starts, how it progresses, and how it ends. So the working title right now is just called Victims, and that will probably change because that's a horrible title. And pretty much what it is, it's two guys who grew up together, and they were losers. No one liked them, but they liked each other, and they really didn't do anything with their life. So they just played video games, watched movies, got fat, whatnot. Well, at some point, like after high school, one of them, and I don't reveal the names until the very end, one of them goes to the army and gets fit and gets healthy and is now determined, has a way to progress into the future without feeling shame. And then once he returns home, he finds his friend is equally as fit and everything and motivated, which is awesome for both of them because they were on the same page before and they're on the same page now. But it turns out when the one guy went into the army, he got motivated and fit. The other guy, being all alone, just got tired of being turned down for dates and looking and feeling bad. And so he was able to motivate himself on his own to get healthy and get thin and get motivated and whatnot. So the whole point of the story is one guy, I guess there's 2 points to the story, but one of the points is one guy was able to do this on his own. The other guy was not able to do it on his own, and he needed outside assistance to do it. And so they want to do something to help people. And it turns out what they ended up doing is setting up a camp to help people get to where they are. And they set up all the rules of the camp beforehand about what they can do and what they can't do. But the thing is that they kidnap people, and here's where the whole victims thing come in. They kidnap people who, for whatever reason, are not living the best life. They're just like they were beforehand. They need to do more, and they're not. So they kidnap these people, and they force them to work out. They force them to eat healthy. They force them to learn a skill. At the very beginning, they kidnap a homeless guy who doesn't have any like mental issues or anything like that. He's just homeless, and so they do this a few times. So they kidnap the homeless guy, and they run into a few hiccups here and there, but they try to refine their craft to take people that need that extra boost, but they just can't do it themselves. They won't reach out to somebody else. They can't do it themselves. They need to be forced to do it. And so what I'm looking for is, by the end of the story, I want people to have questions. I want people to ask these questions. Do the ends justify the means? Do the end results justify the way they got there. They help all these people. They put them on the right path. But does that justify what they did to these people to get them there? To steal them away from their life, to steal them away from their family, to force them to do this? Well, obviously, and what I call them through the movie is I name one alpha and one beta. So alpha is obviously the guy who went to the army, who says that people need to be forced. Beta is the guy who stayed at home and did all this on his own. And so obviously you can see the schism between the two. Alpha is obviously the alpha male, thinks that people need to be forced to do this because he couldn't do it on his own. So these other people, they really do need a drill instructor, pretty much. Whereas beta, he's like, no, I did it on my own. I found the motivation. I reached a point in my life where the pain was too unbearable. I was turned down by too many females for dates. I hated the way I feel. I hated the way I looked. I was all alone, so I was able to find the motivation. So obviously there's conflict between these two from the very beginning, and it comes at the final fight, pretty much, is between these two. What are they doing? Where are they going forward? Are they doing what is correct? So I want them to be answering and asking each other these questions, the exact same thing that the reader is doing as well. So like I said, I have this whole summary planned out. I've even named the chapters. And so what happens is the first guy that they kidnap is a homeless guy, and at the end, they're not as successful as they would like to be, but they were able to get the guy into like a construction job. So get him fit, get him motivated, get him clean cut, everything, help him with a resume, able to get him a construction job. And you see later on in the story that he still has this job later in the story. So they were successful with him. And all this is very, very quiet. No one knows, because they just kidnap random people. They just think that these people have either gone missing or ran away or what. So no one really catches on until later that, and obviously once the media gets a hold of this, it just totally blows up. And people try to find out where this camp is located. And one guy because what's happening is that these people are kidnapped, but then they're released. Obviously the family wants to know where they've been for the last, I don't know how long it takes, 3 months, 4 months. Well, they disappeared as slob, and when they returned 4 months later, it looks like they went through boot camp. Well, these people, I don't know if they don't want to say, Stockholm Syndrome, I don't know if they refuse to say, but obviously they don't know where this place is located, because it was secret. So, so that's my story idea. Like I said, it's the longest I have. I really like it, and I really would like to be able to write it in such a way that people really are asking questions at the end. Are these people good people, alpha and beta? Are they bad people? Do the ends justify the means? Do some people really do need to be forced out of their ruts, or they will be there their entire lives? And I really just hope that it really does motivate some other people to question their own life. Am I in that rut? So I really like that idea. I decided to make this public because I don't know if I will ever be able to expand it to where I would like for it to be. I don't know if anyone else has ever come up with this idea. I'm sure a billion stories out there, so I'm sure that somewhere someone has an outline similar to this. But if they have, I haven't read it. So, oh, and something I didn't mention is that, so not only do they teach them about their body, teach them about fitness, teach them exercise, and whatnot, but they also teach them a language, and they have the choice of languages to learn. So Alpha, when he went to the army, he was taught Arabic. And Beta, when he was learning on his own, he decided to teach himself Mandarin. So that's one thing, that's one choice that these victims really do have in all of this, is like, which language would you like to be taught? So over the course of months, they're taught the second language as well, just to help them on their resume. Also, this land that they're on, I didn't explain this in the first video I made, but the land is like belong to like the grandfather of Beta. It's like an family inheritance. And Beta's parents, they're pretty much fat slobs, and they're just watching TV until the day they die. So they really don't care what Beta's doing. And if he wants to hang out on the land, let him hang out on the land. And so that's where they get the camp from. And they tell the victims, it's like, yeah, you can run away if you want, but the nearest neighbor is like 10 miles away, and you don't know which direction it is. And it's not revealed until like the very end of the movie, story, whatever, when they're looking at mail where the location is located. And when you look it up on a map, it really is in the middle of nowhere, where the like nearest road is seriously like 10 miles away from this location. So that puts a little realism to this whole thing. And obviously where they're getting their money to fund all of this is Alpha is getting some money from the army, and Beta is getting some money from his parents. And also, once they do have these people, you have your own source of labor. And so obviously one of the jobs that they're going to ask these people to do is to help them build places, housing and stuff like that. So one of the chapters I do have is where a hunter runs across this place, but he has no idea what's going on, and he looks and finds, get off your phone, people. I'm on my phone when I'm driving, so but they had a green light and they weren't going, and they just hung out there for 5 seconds, but it appears like for all eternity. What was I saying? Oh yeah, a hunter runs across the place, but he doesn't watch the news. He has no idea what's going on. He sees like 3 muscular men just working out, so he doesn't think anything of it, so he just walks away. So that's a whole chapter in itself. I have no idea what I'm going to do with that chapter, except for I did want that hunter to run across the place, but there's not much there, and so I don't know what I'm going to do with that. But so that's my longest story idea that I call Victims. I really like it. I really want to put it out there. I can't write dialogue. I can't write characters. So I don't know.